Hey everyone! For my project this week, I decided to create a board game regarding barriers in the learning environment. I think as future educators, barriers in the learning environment, whether it be in our classrooms or barriers that our students face at home, are going to be frequent things that we deal with. And so I thought creating a board game with kind of what if questions would be a good way to put ourselves in different scenarios to think quickly about what we would do, and also gives you a chance to collaborate with other teachers as they're playing the game to see what they would do in a situation. It's always nice to be able to bounce ideas off of a coworker to see if maybe they're handling a situation in a better way, or if they have other strategies that you might not have thought of, or ways that maybe didn't work for you, worked for them, and they changed it up a little bit. So what I did was printed a template for a board game from Google. It was just a free template that I could edit. I added, not really sure you can see it with how the screen blurs. I added a draw pile and a discard pile because we're going to play with cards. And then added little places like if you land on a certain block, you can trade places with another player, move back 2 places, or skip ahead 3 places. And the rules for the game are, I thought at first maybe having you roll a set of 2 dice, but now that I'm looking at the board game, it doesn't really have that many spaces. So maybe just rolling 1, and everybody's going to roll. The player with the highest roll goes first, and then play continues to the left. So when it's your turn, you're going to roll to see how many spaces you might move. You're going to draw a card, read the prompt out loud, and then follow the prompt. If you answer the prompt successfully within the time limit, you get to move your game piece. But if you fail to do so, it's just better luck next time. And of course, the first one to the finish line wins. So as an example of some of the cards that you might draw from the pile are list 4 barriers in the learning environment, list 3 common classroom interruptions, and list 3 ways to help students who are struggling with socio-emotional regulation, and then list 2 ways to help your students with learning disabilities feel included in your classroom. I gave 15 seconds as a time limit for all of those to kind of put you on the spot, have you answer pretty quickly since you're just listing, not really thinking too much about an actual scenario. And then for the remainder of the questions, I gave a 30-second time limit. And the questions are, several students in your class have limited access to technology, so list 3 ways to help them succeed in a world that is driven by technology. Whole group music and reading times are overstimulating to one of your students. How do you help him avoid feeling overstimulated while still including him in the instruction? A student that does not speak or understand English moves into your district. You live in a very rural area with little to no diversity and limited access to translators. Your student does not have access to a device, so how do you help her feel comfortable, and how will you communicate with the student? Several announcements have been made over the intercom, and your students have lost all focus. What do you do to get them back on track? And then finally, all of your students are very active in extracurricular activities, and you notice their grades are slipping. How do you help them balance school and activities? And I set this up so that the time starts when the question is read aloud. So then you're not having to read the question and then try to come up with a strategy at the same time. But those are just a sample of some of the questions that I would include in this board game. And I look forward to hearing your comments.